All right, welcome everyone to another deep dive. Today we're tackling a really big one, a topic that's been debated like crazy all over the world, the origins of COVID-19.
It sure has.
And we've gotten a ton of articles from you all about it.
Yeah, really interesting stuff.
So we're going to dig in and try to make sense of it all, break it down.
Absolutely. It's a complex issue, no doubt.
Yeah, very much so. Okay, so one of the articles you guys sent in, it was from the Wall Street Journal, and it had this pretty wild claim in it that the FBI thinks a lab leak in China is the most likely cause of COVID.
Mm.
They even quote this former FBI scientist, Jason Bannon, saying the agency had, quote, moderate confidence in this assessment. So what do you make of that? Moderate confidence.
Right. Well, moderate confidence, it doesn't sound like, slam dunk, but in the world of intelligence, it actually means they've got some pretty decent evidence.
Okay, so they're not just throwing this out there. They've actually got something to back it up.
Exactly. But the thing is, the FBI seems to be kind of on their own with this.
What do you mean?
Well, other U.S. intelligence agencies, they're not so sure.
Yeah.
And get this, the article says that the FBI's evidence wasn't even included in the final report that went to President Biden.
Whoa, wait a minute. Why would they leave that out? That's huge.
Yeah, it is strange, but it's important to remember how this intelligence review process works, You have all these different agencies, CIA, FBI, and others. They all do their own investigations, analyses, and then they're supposed to come together, compare notes, and try to reach some kind of consensus.
So like a team effort.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
And in this case, the big conclusion, the one from the National Intelligence Council, the NIC, was that COVID probably came from an animal, it jumped from an animal to a human.
So natural origins, basically.
Yeah. And the CIA, along with 3 other agencies, agreed with that.
But not the FBI.
Nope. They were sticking with the lab leak theory.
Man, yeah. That's crazy. So you've got this big divide, this real disagreement at the highest levels about where this pandemic started. And it gets even more interesting because the article mentions this guy, Jason Bannon, the FBI scientist. He's really critical of how this whole thing went down.
Right.
He says there's a lack of transparency. And he even said, quote, what ended up on the cutting room floor needs to be re-examined. That's a pretty strong statement.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's basically saying there's stuff that's been hidden, deliberately left out of the official story.
Wow. So what does the intelligence community say about that?
Well, the Director of National Intelligence, the DNI, has pushed back on this. They say it's not standard practice to present every single agency's view to the president.
Okay, but even so, you'd think if the FBI had something big, like real evidence of a lab leak, that would be pretty important to share, right?
You'd think so, yeah. But the DNI insists their goal was to just present a clear, objective assessment based on what they knew.
Okay. So we've got this one report saying natural origins and another one from the FBI saying lab leak. And then to make things even more complicated, there's another article you guys sent in. This one's from a Republican-led COVID-19 committee in Congress.
Oh, right. I read that one.
And they also think it was a lab accident. So now we've got even more conflicting information. How are we supposed to make sense of all this?
Yeah, it's confusing, isn't it? And that's exactly why we need to be so careful and really think critically about what we're reading and hearing.
Yeah, for sure. We can't just take things at face value. We have to consider who's saying it, why they're saying it, and what their agenda might be.
Absolutely. Like with this report from the Republican-led committee, we have to remember the political context. It's important to, look at the evidence they're presenting, but also keep in mind that there might be some political motivations behind their conclusions.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it seems like we're kind of stuck in this gray area right now. No one can say for sure where COVID came from.
Yeah, it's a real mystery, and it might stay that way for a while.
Which is frustrating, because this is such a big deal. We're talking about a pandemic that's affected the entire world.
You got it. Millions of people have died, economies have been disrupted, lives have been turned upside down, and we still don't have a clear answer about how it all started.
Exactly. It makes you wonder, what kind of evidence would we need to finally solve this puzzle? Is it even out there?
Right. That's the big question, isn't it? What would it take to definitively say this is where it came from? More investigation, more data. It's hard to know for sure.
It really is.
It's a puzzle we may never fully solve. But it's important to keep asking these questions, to keep searching for answers.
I agree. And maybe by keeping this conversation going, by continuing to investigate and learn, we can at least get closer to the truth.
Hopefully.
All right, everyone. So that's our deep dive on the origins of COVID-19.
Fascinating stuff.
It really is. Big thanks to everyone who sent in articles and helped us unpack this complicated issue. And as always, keep those brains working, keep questioning, keep searching for information. And if you enjoyed today's deep dive, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives on important global topics. Thanks for tuning in.
See ya.
Bye, everyone.